What is up, maniacs? Welcome back to Sound and Pound. I'm Drake Riggs. This is Alex Behunin. We are here December 5th, Tuesday, another 12 p.m. Pacific time, as we always are here. Another week to recap, another week to look forward to. In MMA, a lot going on, as always. First week of December, we're closing in on 2024. Alex, how we doing? How's the home stretch treating you so far this week, my man?
Yeah, bro. Just two more UFC events and a good old break, which is I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I know. It's always a luxury when we get a UFC break with all the saturation these days. But
Yeah, right.
last week was a pretty good one. UFC Austin, we will get into that. Not unsurprisingly, not the worst fight night for them to close out on, at least outside of the Apex. Of course, we got that one to talk about this week. UFC Vegas 83. But before we get to that fun stuff, let's just jump right in, I guess, Alex. Let's get to the maniacal moment of the week. I mean, there are so many to choose from, but what do you kind of want to touch on here as your choice for this post UFC Austin week to start out with?
Man, it's tough. I mean, it's between the main and co-main event. I think I'm gonna go co-main event. Jalen Turner knocking out Bobby Green first round. I mean, and just basically wailing on a dead body. Fucking
It's like, you
Kerry
want to see a
Hatley
dead body?
bro. I mean, what the fuck was that stoppage, dude? Like, I mean, okay, I'm all for late stoppages, but that was like 20 punches too late, 12 seconds
Crazy.
too late. Like it was ridiculous. And the sad thing was like it took away from Jalen's moment, took away from his knockout, like it took away from like what he did on 9 days notice, going in there sparking Bobby Green,
Yeah.
and everyone was talking about the stoppage, which was kind of a shame. But I mean, if we kind of forget about the stoppage itself, like man, uh, he halted Bobby Green's momentum, and did it violently. And I think it just kind of he kind of just reassured people like I might have been on a 2 fight losing streak, but I'm still here and I'm still a dangerous lightweight and I'm still someone that no one's gonna want to fight really. Like it's that's the thing with lightweight division. Like I think the bantamweight division has the most talent in it,
Mm-hmm.
but the lightweight division has like just killers, just killers, and it's killers that nobody wants to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like no one
Right.
wants to fight Benoit Saint Denis. No one wants to fight Arman Tsarukyan. No one wants to fight Jalen Turner. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just no one wants to fight Gamrot. It's just not fun fights to take.
Yeah. The difficulty level
Yeah,
as you
it's
climb increases. Whereas
ridiculous.
I think the thing when you look at bantamweight versus lightweight, it's like since it's more spread out, like it's not as that problem's not as prevalent, right? So
Right.
yeah, it's very interesting. But yeah, I think you make fantastic points there about Jalen. Like this was an awesome performance, a great win. Like, and we should be talking about that more, unfortunately. But instead, pretty much knocked out Bobby Green multiple times because he iced him right away, dropped him, and he falls onto his stomach, first of all, Alex. And didn't look like the most intelligent defense to me. And that's number one thing you got to remember in stoppages is got to intelligently defend yourself. Man was stuck. Man was stuck, and he had to go out again. He had to go out again. It
Yeah.
was very, very surprising. I think there have been a whole lot of bad ones and some Herb Dean ones come to mind. For the all-time worst, I think that this is right up there. The one that always stands out to me, Alex, is Dalloway and Mirzakhanov, I believe, was the Russian fellow who fucking practically murdered CB Dalloway. And I think it was in Russia, but Herb was the ref. That one always stands out to me as like, how the hell did that not stop? And he still didn't stop it. It went to the end of the round. So
Yeah.
it might be on par with that one. This was terribly bad. Really, no excuse for it. Like I said, especially with the lack of intelligent defense, just the shots that were given and taken from Bobby Green. Um, and unfortunately, it takes away a little bit from the conversation. Like DC, you should never have to mention that in the post fight. The immediately after.
Right.
So it sucks, but like I think people forget about it sooner rather than later. Like
Hopefully.
I know, I know, but you think about like once he gets his next fight booked, and they won't talk about it. Like, all right, yeah, he knocked out Bobby Green, that was good, yada yada. But Yeah, that was exactly what Jalen Turner needed. You know, like arguably won the last fight with Dan Hooker. That was a close competitive one. And then Gamrot before, not so much, but I mean, it's all right. So snaps a 2-fight losing streak and knocks out this guy who had more momentum than him. Pretty much steals it in a way. And on short notice, like you said, that was the thing. Capitalized on the opportunity. So what do you kind of want to see for him next? That's kind of the weird thing is like, who do we match him up with?
Man,
Tricky.
it's tough. It's tough. I think you do. It's either Moicano or either Moicano or Benoit Saint Denis. I think if they don't push Benoit Saint Denis, like and give him like a Gamrot or give him like someone really up high, I think you got to match those two guys up and see who's the one that they're really gonna push. You know, I mean, also Jalen Turner versus Fiziev would be fucking really fun.
Yeah, yeah, that would be good. That feels like a bit of a jump though, but then it's like, what do you do with Fiziev? So that might actually be fairly perfect. Like,
Right?
I
I
guess
mean, he's coming off a
depends
loss. You know
on
what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and depends when I don't know when he's thinking to come back, but like, yeah, Hooker would be cool, but obviously he's gonna be, you know, he's healing for a little bit. But yeah, kind of weird, kind of interesting moves can be made there at the back end of lightweight. I would love Saint Denis versus Fiziev. Personally, I think that would be great. That seems like a logical step to go with. I'm very curious just to see.
I mean, I want Saint Denis to fight Gamrot. Like Gamrot, you're not fighting for the title next. You're probably
Yeah,
not going to get it. You're not probably not. I mean, like, there's an argument like Oliveira's next, then Gaethje, then Tsarukyan. You know,
yeah.
like Gamrot's completely out of the fucking picture right now. So, I mean, if you go out there and beat this fucking cold-blooded French killer, like then you get your shot. You know.
Well, I think let's add this to the maniacal moment because I wanted to go away from the main event just because there were some other things to mention too. But since you mentioned that, I think that's a great question because, and it's the question of the show today, really. I think on MMA Mania, that was the title I put for, for our episode here. But does Arman deserve a title shot, Alex? Because I mean, really, I think the case is real strong. Like between the three of these guys, him, Gaethje, and Oliver, you kind of put him behind those two. I could see him being above Gaethje for sure. I don't know. Like you can go in all directions. I'm a guy who always loves winning streaks. So by that alone, Arman gets the top for me. Obviously, the other two guys are on just well, Gaethje has the 2 wins in a row now, so there's that. But and I'd like to see the Oliveira rematch breathe a little bit personally, but that's not going to happen. We just know. So how do you feel about yeah? Does he? Let's go this. Does who deserves it the most? And then what order do you think we'll get it? I think you probably nailed it with the third line there.
I mean, there's an argument that Saruk. I mean, it's tough because I think Gaethje probably deserves it the most because he went out there and knocked
Yeah,
Poirier out, and it's a fresh matchup.
true. Very true.
I've been on the boat that like I don't want to see Islam and Charles fight for the title and rematch because it's so close to each other.
Yeah,
And if Charles loses, like
he's fucked.
then he's in like the Volkanovski Whitaker kind of thing where like you're not challenging for a title, like you're
And
fucked, you
Holloway,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
exactly. So it's like so realistically, I think it's Gaethje should get it next. Just because like he went out there, knocked Poirier out, got the BMF title, fresh matchup,
Yes, that's a big one. Yeah,
winning streak, like it's that. Then Sarukian, then Oliveira. But if they were to say, "Fuck it, run Islam versus Armin too," I
yeah,
wouldn't.
yeah. That's all right.
I mean, that first matchup, I've rewatched it a few times, man, and some of those wrestling exchanges are just
Like, damn.
like it's just so good, and like obviously they've both gotten better since that fight. And it's just like it's one of those fights like, damn, man, it's ridiculous. Rich is up in here, man. Hey, I told everybody to look out for that Fury FC featured fight between Displain and Banks, and
Hey, hey, we'll get
Displain
to that.
got that UFC contract. Yeah, so I think I'd go Gaethje, Sarukian, and Oliveira personally.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I could even flip Sarukian and Gaethje, but I think you make a good point there in terms of the freshness is a big thing for me. Gaethje is literally the newest guy, hasn't fought him before, and then he is on a winning streak at least. And I mean, I don't know exactly what you do with Oliver. He's in that weird spot too, where like he's beat all the other guys too, right, floating around there. But again, it's like, uh, it's too soon for me, even with the extension of the injury. Like he's had one fight since then, one win since then. First one wasn't too close. I get it, Charles Oliver, always fucking exciting. I'm always going to be happy to see him, but if he loses, like you said, it's brutal. And I mean, of course, you're assuming that Islam continues to hold the belt, of course, but like
Yeah.
possible, very possible. So we will see. Lightweight is always very interesting. But what was also pretty interesting, Alex, I'm going to pick as my maniacal moment this week was the fact that we got back-to-back slam knockouts on UFC Austin. I don't know if I've been that surprised in a while. Just for like the fact that who was it? Was it Brundages was second?
Yeah.
Here, let me look. I got the card up here. What am I doing? Zachary Reese. I mean, I would assume, Alex, that he at least someone mentioned there was a slam like that before, and then to hear it and then not let go when it's happening to you. Like after that, I was like, okay, there's 0% chance this happens a third time in a row because people know. Okay, let go of the fucking submission.
That's rough.
What was your reactions? Because that was wild. The first one just by itself was like, God damn, Drakkar. Didn't you never expect that?
Yeah, no, two brutal knockouts, two slam knockouts. Yeah, it's like we'll probably never see that one again.
Right.
Yeah, it was nuts, and like the Cody win was a little bit, bittersweet because like he needed that win so bad, and they put him like up against Zach Reese, who is a fucking stone cold killer, and they were. I mean, I felt like the UFC were kind of like teeing up Zach to like get a really good win on this over Cody, and Cody went out there and shut that shit down and saved his UFC career. So
Yeah, what a way to do it.
yeah. So on top of the two slams, there was like a little storyline in it, and it was just, dude. The entire Austin card was just, it was violent, bro. And like the last time we went to Austin, it was full of violence too. Like it's just, Austin is just MMA violence, bro.
Yeah, not complaining about that, and definitely still some wackiness though and shitty judging. Just to highlight that real quick, because the first fight with Veronica Hardy and Jalen North, there was that shouldn't have been a split decision.
Yeah,
or at least shouldn't have. Yeah, I don't see how you give 2 rounds to Jamie, but that's a different story. But yeah, and like as for the stories, like Drakkar Klose, his first fight like of the year, over a year, right? Let's see, he hadn't fought since like June of 2022. I'm assuming some injury stuff held him up, and I mean, guy's always pretty fun. So, like, jeez, and his post fight I thought was pretty entertaining. He's got a little bit of personality going on there.
for sure.
What he said, give me the easiest guy. That's what he wants next. Love the honesty, brother.
Smart decision.
Yes. And finally putting the ghost of Jeremy Stevens behind him.
Yeah, right.
Definitely quite a maniacal UFC Austin it was. So with that, we will move along though to the underrated moment of the week. Let's highlight a little bit of the things that got swallowed up by that, because there were actually plenty. So Alex, I think I have an idea of where you're going to go for this, but who or what is going to be your underrated moment of this past week?
I kind of wanted to stay with UFC Austin and like do some of the prelims, like Misha Tate and stuff, but I mean, I'm gonna go bare knuckle FC. I mean, as if there was not more violence to be needed. There was, because Mike Perry and Eddie Alvarez went to war for two rounds for basically 4 minutes, 4 minutes and some change, and just beat the shit out of each other. And it was crazy because Eddie, he was mopping Mike up in that first round. Just, he was so much faster. And then Mike was just like, "All right, dude, like, I'm gonna use my strength. Yeah, I'm gonna use my strength. I'm gonna walk you down. I'm gonna use my power and just kind of just lump you up." And that's what happened. he broke two bones in Eddie's orbital, and Mark Henry, Eddie said he couldn't see, and Mark saved him. So
You love to see that.
man, yeah, exactly. Even though
The violence
it
was
just
there.
the violence was there, and bro, I mean, Mike Perry's last two opponents quit on the stool, and his four opponents in BKFC, like he's just made it look easy. So I just like he's obviously his call. He's just found his calling, and he's just so it just it's gonna come to the point where people thought when you say UFC you think of Chuck Liddell. It's gonna be like you think of BKFC, you think of like Mike
Okay.
Perry. It's just like
That's pretty good.
it's good. Maybe might be that thing, like it might already be
Yeah.
there, but yeah, that was a fun fight, and it was just more violence over after UFC Austin.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, I'm glad you shouted that out because I'm going to take the ones that you would have went with on UFC Austin because I wanted to highlight both Misha Tate and Sean Brady because they both won in practically the same exact fashions, just complete wrestle dominations, which are some of my favorite kinds. Just one-way traffic, big brothering, big sistering. I mean, I was absolutely shocked by both of those, really, even though with Julia Avila hadn't fought in a while since becoming a mother. And even for Misha, having not fought this year, coming back up from 135, I just expected a good bit more of resistance from Julia Avila, especially stylistically. And then even with Kelvin, like he's not a bad wrestler either, but looked like one against Sean Brady. Didn't really have much of hope. Landed a couple shots in like the start of the second round, but really there was just not much space and distance for either Gastelum or Avila to work on the feet. And that was kind of the thing with the Misha fight, I think, was Julia's used to being the bully. So the bully got bullied in that one, kind of never had a chance to even kind of control the pace. I mean, instantly, as soon as the fight started, Misha got on her. Sean waited a tiny bit more patiently in terms of attacking with his wrestling, but after he got going and rolling and realizing he could control Kelvin that way, it was beautiful stuff, man. I mean, I'm sure you having wrestled before, right? It was like, God damn, look at him go. Look at both of these performances were just like, woo.
yeah, I mean, the Brady one was extra, like because Kelvin does have good wrestling,
Yeah.
and Sean just
Shut
manhandled
him
him,
down.
and it's crazy because Kelvin has fought at middleweight for
Yeah.
8 years, and it looked like Sean Brady was the one that was like
Yes.
up at middleweight because he just manhandled him. Like it wasn't even a competitive fight, at all. It was just wow. It was just one of those performances that that's the Sean Brady that we all remember. That's the Sean Brady that we're like, oh goddamn, like he's a welterweight prospect to look, and that's the one that everyone picked him over Bilal Muhammad, and everyone was just so shocked when he lost. Like that was just a get right performance and kind of put his name back in the conversation. Even though of course Kevin Lawson's like, oh, he's 2-6 in his last 8, and
Yeah.
yeah, he's washed, blah 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 blah. It's like no, like obviously that, but obviously like Sean Brady went out there and proved a point, like he's fucking good.
Yes. Yeah, no, that was your not so friendly reminder that Sean Brady's pretty darn good. And of
Yeah,
course, like with both him and Misha, like they got the finishes too. So it wasn't just like, you love to see that where it's kind of like just complete dominance. That's kind of my favorites where then they finish it at the end. Like, all right, they can do that, just let
yeah,
people know it wasn't oh, you can finish this person type of thing. But yeah, very, very good, very impressive. Big congrats to both of them. Much needed wins in both regards. So yeah, I mean, pretty much the entire situations for both were pretty similar. So it's kind of funny that they played out that way, but good stuff there. And James says he wants to ask about the Tate fight. Lots of people praise that performance, which I admit was really good, but compare that to Zhang versus Lemos. Was the public opinion was saying that wasn't an impressive performance? Well, disagree with you there, James. I saw a lot of people saying it was pretty good. Right? I mean, pitch to shutout there in the Lemos one. Comparatively, I don't know, Alex. Did you see any any claims that?
no,
Yeah. James says both Lemos and Avila were decent fighters in each division, but they get put down by the public skill wise, despite their opponents being good. I haven't seen Avila I haven't really seen either of them get put down, honestly, too much.
mm-hmm.
I know you go in some certain circles, James, but again, from what we've seen, not so much there.
I mean, I didn't see anybody talking about Julia because she's been out for a fucking
Yeah,
2 years. Like everyone
yeah,
forgot about her.
exactly. Yeah. Um, so I don't know. Anyway, he says Reddit. Well, of course, that explains it. That
Makes
explains
sense.
it.
Makes sense.
So, all right, let's move along though to the Mania main line now. Let's inject what is coming up this weekend. A very interesting relocated UFC Vegas 83 is on deck. It is also one Fight Night 17 week, but that is a full-on Muay Thai card. That is all they got going this week, which is practically what one is these days, Muay Thai promotion, but there's still a lot to like in certain areas. So, Alex, what is your favorite stuff that is on the docket? What are you injecting this week in the main line?
UFC China Vegas. China Vegas. Lost China.
Lost China.
Yeah, I'm gonna go John Young Park versus Andre Muniz.
Oh yeah.
Man, Iron Turtle is his shot to get in the rankings, and he's looked fucking good. And I think this is a really test to see, like, is Andre Muniz, like, what was he not really that good, or like because there was a minute there, like, everyone was like, this guy's the next middleweight
Yeah.
guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Brendan Allen goes out there, shuts it down. Then Paul Gray goes out there and finishes him.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Like, he's a plus 235 underdog.
Damn.
Yeah. So I think this is just kind of like a put up or shut up kind of fight, and a fight to really showcase if the Iron Turtle is really about that life and really like a ranked middleweight. Because he's good, man. He's on a roll. I think he's in the conversation of, like, top 10 most underrated fighters in the entire UFC. Like, there's no one really talks about him until he fights, right? Like, he's just never in the conversation for, like, matchup conversations or nothing. So I'm really looking forward to that fight to see how he does in it, and to really see where Andre Muniz is, because if he loses this, that's 3 straight losses.
Right. Yeah, a little back against the wall action here for him in this one. Especially, like you said, against an unranked guy, and kind of slowly, still, I wouldn't even say he's there yet, but he is slowly becoming a hardcore darling, Alex. Like, that's how kind of under the radar Iron Turtle has been. Like, those who know about him, they love him. And those people who hear about him, like, hey, this guy looks interesting. And then they see him, okay. This is an opportunity to kind of break out. Good spot on the main card here. Fourth to last fight. But yeah, that's a good pick for all the reasons mentioned, and interesting odds there. It should be I'm looking forward to that one as well. But I'm gonna go with kind of maybe an obvious choice, but hey, this is the point of the main line. It's my favorite things. It's what I'm most looking forward to, and that really is just the co-main event above all else, with Roundtree and Smith, for all the factors: the short notice, stylistic matchup, the potential kind of injection of Khalil Roundtree into the top 10, which would be kind of crazy. Or maybe, I don't know, I could see him putting him in there, especially with what Anthony Smith has been doing lately. Would be fair, I think. I mean, you should always jump the person you beat, just depending on how far they kind of slide and move things along. But don't expect a decision in that fight. I think we'll get a finish one way or another. Highly unlikely to see a submission from Khalil. If it's good, it would probably be submission from Smith, knockout from Roundtree is kind of the predictions that we would expect there. But I mean, it's just a fight that was not expected, and stylistically one that I think has the potential to be pretty darn fun. And I think the short notice helps Khalil a lot. Just considering some of the performances we've seen Anthony Smith in recent years, where maybe his gas tank fades a little bit or just doesn't necessarily show up. Like, curious what the motivation level behind him taking this fight in general is. So I'm very curious to hear from him. What tomorrow, Alex, will be media day, right? So that's the one for me, and I know that I'm sure that's one for a lot of people. Who am I picking? Well, funny you ask, as we get right to our predictions. So let's talk about it. Who do I actually think will win, though? Like, it's so hard for me historically to trust Khalil to pull through, because he's been a choker, let's be honest.
1000 fucking
It's
percent.
all the way back to the Ultimate Fighter, when he got bullied by Andrew Sanchez in the finals. Like, that was a fight where he had all the momentum, all the hype, should have knocked him out. Nope, did not. The high mom fight, right? I can remember that specifically. And then a couple moments since then, obviously, where I wouldn't say he's like definition of a glass cannon, but he's too close to it for my liking. One of those guys who packs plenty of power in their own right, but then he's kind of similar to Johnny Walker in that way, but I think Johnny might be a little glassier than him, just despite Johnny's resurgence to an extent. So I really don't fear him getting knocked out by Anthony. It's just a matter of if he can avoid getting out grappled by him, right? Like on the feet, I think he should be pretty fine. It's tough though. It's a tough one to pick, and I think that's just the big question mark is if he can avoid getting submitted, because like I could see him maybe pulling off something late, like tiring out Anthony because of the short notice. But I'm just gonna stick to the consistency, and I think Anthony will get it done. I'm gonna say round 3 submission, probably like a rear naked or something.
I'm with you, bro. I love Khalil. He's my boy, but I mean, you look at his. I mean, he's like he's a minus 235 favorite over Anthony Smith right now.
Oh wow.
And like you look at his, knocked out Chris Dawkins, who was coming down in weight, been knocked out 4 times before that. I thought he lost to Jacoby. Carl Roberson
right.
was maybe a UFC fighter, and then a good win over Modestus, right? And then, then you look at those losses. He lost 3 out of 4. So,
it's all over the place.
Compared to Anthony Smith, who,
and the level,
he's the level of competition is not even in the same fucking universe. So,
right.
Yeah, unless Khalil, this is unless it's the fight that really shows Anthony Smith is washed, he's done, it's kind of stick to,
which wouldn't make sense, compared to what he's been doing.
Exactly, right. So if this is somehow this is it, he's gonna go stick to broadcasting, maybe Khalil kind of catches him, but historically it's very hard to finish Anthony Smith. Glover
knock the man's teeth out.
Glover did it in the 5th round, and Ankalaev did it when Anthony's leg was destroyed. So
right.
Yeah, I'm picking Anthony Smith. I think I'm gonna go submission too.
Yeah, and I think also it'd be kind of one of those cases where I hate to say this, but I'm not going to be able to trust Khalil until I see a win after this. Let's say he wins it and then wins after. It would feel like, okay, he got this one, not fluke, but because of the short notice and stuff. I still need to see him beat another guy, maybe normal circumstances after. But of course, we'll cross that bridge.
A win over Asmat Murakhanov, who he was matched up against, that would be a really good win,
Yeah. But oh boy, our boy Tommy T is in the house. What is up,
TT,
brother?
bro.
As he's predicting Khalil gonna spank Lionheart. All right, we love to see it.
Yeah.
Tommy. All right, yeah. Well, I love the confidence, brother. We'll see. And I mean, interesting though, mentioning kind of the knees here as Octagon Updates did, and as you did, but Synchro then mentioning, did we Khalil stomps the knee KO against Modestus? Is that worse than a KO for lasting? For CTE, or worse because Daukaus was out for a year. It was Modestus, right? Not Daukaus. So that's an error there. But that was fucking gnarly. That was brutal, but it's legal. Is it worse long term? You could argue. I mean, because not everybody gets CTE, but if you fuck a ligament up, that could very easily be permanent.
It's a fucked up kick. It's legal, so I don't have a problem with it. Stop it,
Yeah, don't get hit by it. But it's very, very violent, very nasty. It's a good kick to incorporate against an older, war-torn veteran like Anthony Smith for sure, and especially with the issues. Even though it was more knee or ankle with the Ankalaev one? I thought it was more kind of lower leg, from what I remember.
I think it was. I believe it was his ankle.
Yeah. Yeah. So either way, attacking the legs never hurts, and Khalil has some very, very strong kicks. So I'm very much looking forward to it. But as for the main event, though, Alex, let's predict that one. Song Yadong, Chris Gutierrez. I am very much always looking forward to watching both of these guys fight for sure. Still not happy that it's main event, as we talked about a couple weeks ago when it was announced. Not at all happy with that. Not at all happy with the shifting of just the whole everything around this card. This fight has very much frustrated me, but love watching both these guys fight. I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup, and they do a whole lot of similar things well. But for me, I think this is going to be a fight where Song Yadong's just kind of like one step ahead of him whole time. Like Gutierrez is going to be able to keep up, kind of, have plenty of moments in there, but he's just going to be slightly behind because Song Yadong is just so fucking quick. His combination of power and speed is like, it feels like it's only getting better each time, and obviously his wrestling's improving too as he continues to work with Team Alpha Male. But I just think this could be a very fun back and forth kind of striking matchup where Song Yadong's just kind of getting the better of the exchanges throughout 5 rounds. Like, not sure about a finish. I feel pretty comfortable saying a unanimous decision win for Song Yadong, but I think Gutierrez will put up a good fight. If he, want to talk about the leg kicks, he's obviously got some great ones himself. If you could try and slow down Song throughout the fight, that would be a wise idea. Obviously easier said than done, especially with somebody who moves the way Song Yadong does. But I struggle to see him losing this one, Alex. Like he's very, very, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And the times that we have seen him lose have been kind of, especially recently, you look at the Sandhagen one with a guy who very uniquely bodied, very uniquely styled. Like that's just not Chris Gutierrez. I don't think he's gonna be able to replicate that. Who doesn't have the same exact weapons as Corey Sandhagen. You kind of have to have this kind of crazy versatility in your weapons to beat Song Yadong. And you look at, of course, people will highlight the Cheeto Vera robbery, or call it that. I didn't think it was. I thought it was very close, but a guy like Cheeto Vera, again, provides a little bit of different skill set than Gutierrez, especially with his counters and patience and whatnot. And then Kyler Phillips, I think, just out wrestled him from what I remember. That was a while ago. So he's sharpened that up since then, indeed. But I feel pretty confident this is going to be a Song decision. Maybe a late finish, but Gutierrez pretty goddamn tough. So what's kind of the assessment? How you feeling on it, Alex?
Same way. I mean, I'm trying. I don't really want to waste much everybody's long. It's kind of the same thought process. I'm really high on Song Yadong. I think he's so talented and he's only getting better. And man, that dude balloons up after weigh-ins. It's kind of scary. Like I don't know how he's big.
Gutierrez?
He no fucking Song
Oh,
Yadong,
Song,
bro.
yeah.
Dude, it's kind of wild how much weight he puts on and water he puts on after weigh-ins, like fight night. The only thing is like Factory X is kind of on a roll. Chris Gutierrez on a roll. Like that that's like the thing that's kind of like giving me for some reason, like just like the Factory X energy,
Yeah.
it's like something's in the air. Obviously the air can't fight for you and it's a one-on-one sport. So
fantastic quote.
yeah. So yeah, I think it's Song Yadong, unanimous decision. He's not going to be able to finish Chris Gutierrez. Chris Gutierrez is very notoriously hard to finish. But it would not surprise me if Chris, kicks those legs out. He has the best leg kicks in the UFC, and kind of just, maybe hits a nerve, hits something like really hinders Song's movements, and like kind of pitter patters and wins a close decision. So who knows what happens? But I'm picking Song.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be definitely very interesting. I think the 2 extra rounds does add a little bit of a sprinkle of intrigue to it. So it will be a fun fight. I just the situations around this fight in the card soured me a little bit on that regard, but it is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. But Rio, I love you, my man, but I gotta fucking put this to bed every single time you say it because it drives me crazy. I think you're just trolling me at this point. But he says, remember in WMA today when we criticized Rodriguez versus Dern, which is objectively a bad main event. No, it wasn't. Fight turned out great. And it was 2 top, 7 contenders, Rio. It was fine. It was just fine. He says, I give Yadong versus Gutierrez the same energy. Why is this main event? Should be a prelim fight. Disagree with that too. I mean, it should be like maybe an early main card fight. But obviously the reason that this got put in the main event slot was because they were planning to go to China. And funny how Dana didn't really know what happened there. I wish he kind of had a better answer this past weekend. But I see what you're saying. Yes, like I agree that could have been a different one. And I know you hate them both, so that doesn't mean that it was objectively. You just admitted to subjectivity there, so you got it backwards. Hate them both. You say it's Brazilians now, but all right. That I'm gonna get more hate mail for that one. So that'll wrap up our Mania mainline, everybody. Feel free to get your predictions in the comments below if you're watching on replay or live. And again, I forgot to say it off the top, but if you're watching on Twitter, head on over to YouTube and interact and ask questions in the comments for the end of the show, as I put there on the ticker at the bottom, at least, so you can see that. But all right, giddy up, yeehaw. Let's get to the matchup roundup. We got a whole lot of matchups to get to this week, Alex. There were even two of them that were made today for Saturday, right? So we got, or at least one of them was. So a couple late notice change-ups. We have 3 on the list here. So let's get going right down this thing. Jesus, this might be our biggest fucking roundup so far. This is a big one, Alex.
Let's just go. Let's just get going fast and fast.
Get it going. All right. So yes, this weekend we have 3, like I said, UFC Vegas 83 that got shifted, happening, all this stuff. So Steve Garcia Jr. is taking on Melquizel, assuming I said his name right, Costa. This weekend. Steve Garcia always in pretty fun fights. Costa, yeah, not too bad either. Solid 7. I think should be a fine fight. Solid 7. Daniel Marcos versus Carlos Vera also happening this weekend. 15-0 Marcos, looking to keep that going. 6, it's around the same for me. Should be fine.
That's a 1 for me, bro. I don't know.
That's a 1. No.
I don't know why Carlos Vera's in the UFC. No, it's a squash match.
Well, that's what I'm interested in. the undefeated record getting padded, baby. So then we move along, though, to a real fun one, I think. Tim Elliott, always fun, against Suma Derje, filling in for who was supposed to fight, Alex?
Alan Namasen.
Oh, yeah, so that sucked. Always love watching Nasty Mentos as well, but Tim Elliott, pretty solid replacement. So this is a 7 for me. I like both these guys a lot. I think should be fun. Should be a fun one. But all right, then we move along to UFC Vegas 84, January 13th. Tom Nolan taking on Nicholas Mota. I can't quite remember Tom Nolan, so this must be his UFC debut.
Yeah,
Mota,
he had a violent knockout on the Contender Series.
Okay, all right, and then Mota, kind of been a little up and down, right? So this is a little squashy as well. What's your rating on it? I don't really have one. I'll give it a 4.
I mean, it's on paper, it's a very fun matchup because both the guys are knockout artists. So if someone's going to sleep, it's just, dude, like they just can't give Nicholas a fucking layup fight and to save his life. So I'm gonna go. It's like a 7.
Okay, all right. Then we move along to 165. They're going back to the numbered events, you guys. January 28th, returning to Tokyo for the 3rd time in promotional history, and they're making this fight that they've been wanting to make for like 2 years now, but it's motherfucking Shinya Aoki versus Sage Northcutt, which, after Sage's last performance, I'm more intrigued by this for sure, but it is super weird still, which kind of makes it fun. Shinya Aoki might just fight forever at this point. I mean, my goodness, but yeah, I'm very kind of conflicted about how I feel about it. A 5.5, I think. I don't know. I'm very torn on how I really feel about this.
Yeah, I think it's like a 6 because it's interesting, but it's like a 3 because it's a squash match.
Would you think Sage should win easily?
Yeah, I think
the age is too much.
I think Sage should run through this guy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
the fucking legend Shinya Aoki.
Yeah, right. That'll hurt my soul if that happens, really. Oh boy. All right, moving along though, we go to the February 3rd card, UFC Vegas 85, which has got what do we got? 4 matchups here, so they're pumping those out these days. Got Marquel Medeiros versus Landon Quinones. I think a cozy 5. I don't know. I think Quinones pretty fun, but again, not as familiar with Medeiros there, but I'm fine with it. It's a fight.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a very fun matchup. 7.
All right, and then also on the card, we got this one announced today. Melsik Bagdasaryan is back. He will take on William Gomis at UFC Vegas 85. Obviously, I like Melsik. I think he's a guy who's showing some real potential. Good prospect. Gomis, he's looked all right. Not too different levels of prospect, I think. Favor Melsik pretty handily in this one, especially stylistically. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it's probably not what I would have went with for maybe either guy, but it's fine. I'll take it. It's a 7 for me.
Yeah, I love watching Melsik fight. I hate watching William fight. This is like a it's like this is like a 4 because I really just don't like watching William Gomi fight. It's just this 2 UFC fights have just been fucking
Garbo.
Yeah, it sucks.
All right, but then after that, we got the addition of Gilbert Urbina versus Charles Radke. Alex, is this one that you like? Because I feel like no, not so much.
Like a 5.
Gilbert, he was the Ultimate Fighter guy, right? He was on
the third brother.
That's right. Yes, the third Urbina brother. Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah, the Urbinas, they're hit or miss. But then we have the main event though, which should be pretty interesting. Roman Dolidze welcoming back Nasruddin Imavov in the main event, 5 rounds. These middleweight main events, Alex. Not sure how I feel about those either, but 5 rounds, I think a good test for Dolidze, right? Because it'll be his first one. So there is that aspect to it. Always in pretty fun fights. Wins in some pretty crazy fashions. So I like it. Again, not sure if this would have been the matchup I would have went with, but depending on who's available, I guess. Well, yeah, he was supposed to have Cannonier, so this is kind of a step back in that regard. I think it's still a 7 for me though. Like stylistically, it should be pretty good. Hopefully they can like rebook that one if he wins. We'll see what happens with Cannonier and his recovery time, but I am intrigued by it. And I think the 5 rounds is definitely an interesting factor as well.
Yes, 7 for me.
All right. Move it along to UFC Vegas 86 then. The week after, February 10th, we got 3 fights on that one as well. Just keeping it in the middleweight division. This fight is a rebooking after the poisoning. Alex Rodolfo Vieira and Arman Tsarukyan is still happening. It has just been pushed to February. So feeling shouldn't change too much on this one. Still a pretty solid 6-7 for me. I think 6 though, just because Vieira, he's got to do something. He's got to show up this time. He's kind of lost his steam for sure.
Yeah, 7. It's right. Yeah. My thoughts haven't really changed on that.
Yep. But then we move along to Jeremiah Wells versus Max Payne Griffin. I like this one a lot. I think both of these guys have had a lot of fun fights throughout their career. Jeremiah Wells, just kind of a crazy man. I like that. So, and Max, very much so become quite a veteran in the division, who again kind of shows up sometimes, doesn't other times, but when he's on, he's on. When he's off, not the best, but that's okay. We'll see what he can do against Jeremiah here. It's like an 8 though. I like it. I really do like this one.
8 for me as well. You kind of speaking my language.
Right on. As we close out UFC Vegas 86 with Haider Emil versus Shaylan Nuerdenbiak.
Yeah, I am a Haider Emil fanboy. I feel like I'm the reason he got in the UFC.
All right,
so I'm taking that credit. Tough fight for his first UFC debut, but it should be fun for as long as it lasts. This is like a 8.5, 9.
All right. Yeah, I feel you. I'm looking forward to this one as well. Nuerdenbiak, always a great name to say, but fun in the cage as well. So We move it along then to UFC 298, February 17th. That got 2 fights, and kicking it off with KGB, Andrea Lee versus Miranda Maverick in the flyweight division. I think at this point in kind of their careers where they are, pretty solid matchmaking. I think this is borderline perfect, I dare say. And stylistically, yeah, match up pretty well. I'm gonna give it a good 8, a good solid 8, maybe 8.5. An 8. No, it's an 8. But one that Andrea Lee definitely needs to win. So I'm very interested by it.
Yeah, it's a put up or shut up fight for Andrea Lee. She loses this, that's 4 in a row. And I feel like this is like a kind of like a get back from Miranda Maverick is like, where are you in the division, basically? Yeah. So with that, 8.5.
All right. And now, Alex, on that same card, we got some heat though. This one is something. Fluffy Hernandez, Anthony Hernandez, taking on Ikram Aliskerov.
That's a 10. That's a 10, bro.
That's a clean 10, brother. Put him up.
Yeah, that's a 10.
It's man. Anthony Hernandez has just been like the underdog guy, and like to the point where now I give him a chance for sure. Like he's proven everybody wrong all the time. Ikram looking pretty damn great, fantastic prospect as well. Yeah, this is gonna be super fun. And winner should get a top 15 guy, 100%.
I mean, yeah, this should be a top 15 matchup.
As is.
Nonetheless. Yeah.
So
yeah, fucking fantastic fight.
Yeah, that's gonna be nice. But what will also be nice is the return of Brandon Moreno as he headlines UFC Mexico against Amir Albazi. Alex, like this is
co-main event.
Oh, really? Okay, well, damn, that's kind of wild. We'll see what they got cooking for the main event then. I thought this was main.
Yair versus Ortega is gonna headline.
Ortega too. Okay. That also be good. But yeah, Moreno versus Albazi. I like it. They should do 5 rounds. They should do the UFC Austin thing for this one.
It is.
Oh, that's why I got confused. Fuck yeah. Awesome. Perfect. That's great then. Yeah, this fight is going to be awesome. I think, I mean, it's almost like a title fight without a title. And, you get the 5 rounds there. This is a 10 for me. I think everything about it, perfect. Like where they are in the division, stylistically, this fight's going to be awesome. It's a clean 10.
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world. It's Albazi's shot to get a title shot. Moreno's finally finding somebody that's not Davison Figueiredo.
Yeah. He did fight Kai.
Yeah,
kind of.
So this is just, it just makes all the sense in the world. It's a 10 for me.
All right, and then we get I believe this was our first fight booked for UFC Saudi Arabia, March 2nd. Eric Anders versus Jamie Pickett. I know you hate this one, Alex. I saw your reaction to it. What is Mr. Pickett still doing in the UFC? Is the
this thing is a fucking zero. This is a fucking zero.
Eric Anders. Zero. Oh man, it is a weird one. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 2 just because of the faith that Anders gives us a highlight. But
when was the last Eric Anders highlight?
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. What a weird career that he has had, man. Like, what was it like his 3rd or 2nd fight? He fought Machida, right? In the main event, like super bizarre push that they tried to do there.
Alabama linebacker, bro.
Yeah,
that's every single fight.
Milk that one, that's for sure. All right, but then closing us out, though, all the way March 30th, really booking it out. There is not even a location for this UFC event yet, but we asked for it. We asked for the big step up for Lupi Godinez, which she has earned, and now she's taken on a returning Verna Jandiroba, who had, I believe, was an arm injury. I interviewed her right before she was supposed to fight Tatiana, and then pulled out like a week after that. And she told me that she had to go to the doctors and check, so she kind of agreed to the fight before it was even fully healthy. So damn you, Verna and doctors. But coming back March 30th. Very compelling, interesting matchup. We know Verna Jandiroba, one of the best grapplers just around. It's a bummer for like from her perspective, because obviously from Tatiana to Lupi, it's like, again, opposite ends of the division, like Roman going from Cannonier to Imavov. But yeah, important fight for both of them in very different ways. Obviously for Verna to kind of keep her spot, and then Lupi to make that jump. I like it from more so the stylistic standpoint than obviously the matchmaking, but I'm gonna give it like a 6.5 about.
Yeah, this is a 5 for me. One, the only 5 it gets is because it's a really nice step up for Loopy, but it gets -5, so it makes it a 5 because why aren't you fighting in Mexico? Like you wanted to fight in Mexico
That's
a
true.
fucking a month before, like
Yeah.
yeah.
What
So
are we doing?
it's like it just makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, when does it ever? So, that will close out the matchup roundup, though. You guys, giddy up, yeah, big one today, like we said. But my goodness, lots going on all the time. So, with that in mind, let's take a trip on over to Spotlightville before we get talking some cinema. But Alex hit pretty big last week. Who are we highlighting this week? And take your flowers, if you will. Still.
Yeah, so I told you guys to watch Robles Desplain versus Miles Banks that took place Sunday at Fury FC 84. Fight lasted 5 seconds, and Desplain got signed to the UFC
On the
5
spot.
minutes 5 minutes later. You know, he is 35 years old, but he's Cuban. He's a heavyweight, so he's gonna fight until he's 74, like Yoel Romero. Um, could be the second coming of Yoel Romero. You never know.
Yeah,
You don't know what the fuck's in that Cuban water, but it's gonna be he's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. He's gonna have a fun UFC career because dude has 19 seconds in his last 3 fights. 19 seconds of cage time in his last three
insane.
fights. He touches you, you're going out. Obviously, we haven't seen his grappling yet, but the fight starts on the feet, so you have to take
Mhm,
him down.
mhm.
So yeah, so I want to pat myself on the back for that
Of
one.
course, well deserved.
So there isn't really any regional fights this week, and no one really of note. So I'm just gonna go Tatsuro Taira. Obviously,
Yep, yep.
I mean that's the guy on the prelims. He's almost opening up the prelims, but I believe that's because they want Japan to watch him fight, kind of saying
Dude, they're giving
giving
him like the perfect slow build, which is crazy. It's insane
one
for like the
one
UFC.
thousand dude. If he wasn't Japanese, he'd probably be fighting fucking Brandon Moreno next. You know,
Yeah,
like
right. Exactly.
yeah, no,
They
I
learned
mean,
from Kyoji.
yeah, 1000%. Yeah, he's fun. He's fun. His last fight against Edgar Chairez kind of, there was some things to be kind of weary of.
Mhm, mhm.
But I mean, it was his first fight in front of a crowd. Maybe that kind of played into it.
Yeah.
So, but on the flip side, he is fighting Carlos Hernandez, who's actually he's pretty good. Like this is not a squash match whatsoever. Like
Mhm.
this is, I think he's gonna give
Mm.
Tatsuro everything he can give. So yeah, I really like Tatsuro. He has a fun personality. Um, and it just sucks he's not fighting in front of an Asian crowd.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But I mean, yeah, can't go wrong with him as the choice here. He is definitely very, very good doing his thing. And yeah, they're keeping him low as well on the totem pole there. So we'll see how it continues to go. But as for the ladies' side of things, you guys, it's kind of only one real option this week, I think, and that is kicking things off in the fight before, though, actually, with Rayani Dos Santos, who is now the former Invicta Atomweight champion. And here's the thing, right? We go back to last week where we were talking about this prospect debate and the definition of it, which Alex did a tweet for, and I didn't quite see the results, but good tweet to have, of course, good debate to have. Um, at Atomweight, she is not a prospect because she made herself one of the best by becoming the champion there, beating Jillian DeCourse, in my opinion. But now at strawweight, she is much more of a prospect because she's less established there. So it's kind of weird. I mean, it's kind of in between in that regard, but she is still quite young. Let me see exactly age, just 28, but has a good amount of experience behind her. Like I said, did fantastic at atomweight to really just the two fights there, but became champion, got the 5 round experience in against DeCourse. So will be a little bit smaller in that regard, but is obviously no stranger to strawweight and has even fought at flyweight before. But has gotten better in this later stretch of her career. Of course, did have an attempt though at the Contender Series against Denise Gomez, who no shame in losing in that one in hindsight. So here she is now after winning the title, getting another shot, welcoming Talita Alencar. Well, they're welcoming each other, right? Both debuting in the UFC. So yeah, if you saw the Rayani Dos Santos win over Jillian DeCourcy, you kind of see the skills that she possesses there over the course of 5 rounds. Can kind of do a little bit of everything, of course. Pretty great on the ground, but yeah, can strike pretty well. Is pretty good as well, shutting down DeCourcy, who obviously a vet and was a champion at the time after a stellar 2022 that she had. So Rayani Dos Santos, kind of the easy pick, I would say, this week. You know, between all the options that we have, which are pretty limited. So it's like, yeah. So make an atomweight division though, UFC. That's what I'm gonna turn this into because we need that.
1000%.
Just somebody does, anyways. God damn it, someone in North America. But all right, that will move us along from Spotlightville and wrap up our fight talk until the Q&A portion of the show, you guys. So hold tight. We will get to your questions. Keep them coming. We see them. Thank you so much. But now it is time for the Drelex Movie Club, including spoilers, of course. And this past week, Alex and I both watched Beau Was Afraid from earlier this year, 2023. This is going to be a really fun conversation, I think, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about with this movie, as expected. But I think we both went in with kind of opposite expectations here. So I'm curious now to hear Alex. I watched this last night. Like I couldn't find time for it until way late. So fucking not a great movie to watch before bed. I'll tell you that much. That was not a good time. 3 hours of good old fun with Ari Aster and Joaquin Phoenix. Dying to hear. What did you end up thinking of this? And when did you watch it, by the way? How soon did you get to it?
I watched it yesterday. I watched it yesterday like at 5. Me and the wife. So yeah. I start off with saying I did not hate it as much as I thought I was going to hate it. I was actually pleasantly surprised. And 3/4 of the movie, I actually really enjoyed. I was like, wow, this is weird. This is just full of anxiety. I know what he's going for. Like he said it before the movie, like this is a movie about anxiety. Everything's cranked up to 100. Joaquin Phoenix was perfect. He's awesome.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But when he gets to his mom's house, that's when the movie lost me completely. And now I understand why people fucking shit on this movie. It was just stupid. It's a fucking giant dick. Like, what are we talking here? And I understand. I've seen some people kind of connect, like his dad is only a dick because he's only like a donor, right? Like he's only like he wasn't in his life. So, but like, bro, really? Like,
that's probably the best explanation you could come up with.
I mean, it's just, yeah. And then
I sat up when I saw that. I was like, I had to like squint.
Yeah, like what are we doing here, bro? And and then it just kind of goes crazy, and then like the trial with
that looked really fucking cool.
Yes, it was a very very cool setting. I get what they were doing for it. It's just like it's too much. Like it just kind of deflated it, and it would suck because like I was like, holy shit, like. Up until he goes to his mom's house, I was like, this is actually a really good movie. I'm really enjoying it. I don't know what the fuck people were shitting on this movie for. Like, it's weird. It's Ari Aster being Ari Aster.
So did you get lost like once she was still alive, or like when was like the exact moment? Because I thought that was a pretty great twist.
Yeah, no, it was a good twist. It's when he goes to the dick. Like, once he gets there, it would just lost me. It was just I'm all for like a really like holy what the it's just I'm out. So the ending once again kind of ruins it for me, but it's by far Ari Aster's worst movie, but on the flips on the same, like it's really I like that he kind of, he got $35 million from A24 to make this
Mm,
movie, and he went out and just made something,
yeah,
like, a lot of people say like this is going to be probably like he's going to have to rebuild himself after this, and I wouldn't doubt it because it made like $2 million, and um,
tanked a little
the
bit.
he tanked, and it's not like Hereditary and Midsommar, but
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate the swing. It was kind of like I don't want to say it's like a swing and a miss, but it's like a swing and like a
It went to the outfield.
it went to the outfield, but he still got out. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like he didn't run fast enough to first base. So yeah. Other than that, the last thing I'll say is Joaquin Phoenix was just brilliant. He's
Yes.
one of the best actors of all time. Just the way he emotes, just it was perfect. Like it was a movie made for him. Like it was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
it was a perfect
Dude,
bow. Yeah, and just there was Nathan in this
Nathan
movie.
Lane.
It's just Nathan
Yeah.
Lane, just so good. Um,
He was really
yeah,
fun. It
yeah.
was really
There was
fun.
like a lot of fun characters, a lot of fun things in the movie. Like I said, up until the giant dick, it was I really enjoyed it, and then it just kind of fell off the cliff for me.
Yeah, this was a ride. This was like a very multi-layered ride, and I don't know. You might have liked it a little bit more than I did. Like, I love me a crazy, artsy, kind of wacky ass film like this one, where obviously Enemy is one of my favorite movies. I know they're very different in ways, but like, I love a movie that makes you fucking think about what it's trying to say. This movie does that the whole time, nonstop, really.
It felt like I'm all for artsy movies. I'm all for indie movies. This just felt like Ari Aster being pretentious and like throwing it in your face, like, look at
With the
me,
animation.
Yeah, like it's just it was just him being pretentious and
That was
yeah,
really fun though. The animation sequence in like the middle of the movie, I did think was pretty fun and um kind of highlighted, yeah, the things about Bo in a nice way or a clever way, a very fucking clever way. But that was kind of the point actually for me where uh lots once he got to like the play and stuff. Like I enjoyed the stuff that came after as well, but I was more like, kind of like I liked it. I did, but it caught me a little bit maybe too off guard in a sense. But um yeah, so I mean just the thing though, the first I think the first half of the movie, maybe the first hour was kind of my favorite because it's just absolute his world is chaos. Like the extreme levels. And I want to say this too, Alex, but fucking pretty insane start to a movie, with him being born. I didn't quite see that coming, but that was an
yeah,
insane. I've never seen that before. So that was and then kind of comes full circle is how I interpreted it in the end too.
for sure.
Um but yeah, like instantly starts out with the kind of the therapy scene and his comments about like mouthwash just show you how much of like a warrior anxiety freak he is. I'm like, oh, he's one of these guys. All right, here we go. This is how it goes. And dude, I at some, we both dealt with anxiety in several ways throughout our lives and whatnot. I'm very curious which part gave you the most anxiety because there were two for me, and I'm going to mention them right here. But the plane lateness hit me like real quick. I was like, man, he made that feel like, oh fuck, that disaster you feel of being late for anything, but like for a plane, that's one of my biggest nightmares. Like I can't handle being late to the airport. I go like 2.5 hours early. That got me real good. And then maybe surprisingly, but the bathtub scene had me like, oh no, this is whoa. Those were probably
Yeah,
my
no,
big two.
yeah, no, the plane, like, no, 1000%. I mean, yeah, like I stayed up all night for at that Bellator event just so that I would not fall
Yeah.
asleep and be late. So yeah, that one was good. Also, when he had to go buy a water bottle,
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
took that, and then like he goes to the cashier and doesn't have enough money, but he sees
Uh,
everybody going into his fucking yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
That was some tense shit. And I mean, that was kind of the big one of the bigger things to me too was like how Ari Aster thought of some of these things is beyond me, man. Like the level of creativity, obviously, whether you think it was good or not, you cannot deny he's got quite a level of creativity to him.
Yeah.
Just I never would have thought of some of these things. I mean, yeah, you mentioned Joaquin and just how phenomenal he is. Like, dude, I legit think he might be the GOAT. Like, I don't know if you ever saw what was it called? I'm Still Here. But like that was kind of a big highlight to me, man. I was like, this guy, like on top of what he's already capable of, like, whew, that was something.
Yeah.
So,
He's good in everything. Like, it's just he's one of a kind, man.
yeah, he is quite a talent. And yeah, I mean, just like the stress of absolutely everything, like including the little things. Like this was a good part too when he first has the family dinner with Nathan Lane and Amy Ryan, and the daughter comes in and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I can't play living in my room and all that." What? No, I didn't mean. I'm not doing anything. Like, oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
was really clever. Well done. Just a small little like regular relatable sequence. Um, as I got to highlight my cameos, my little appearances. I don't know if you caught Bill Hader was the UPS guy, which
Yep.
was excellent. But I don't think it was him on the phone. Sounded like somebody
No.
else on the phone for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they caught him on camera, talking like for the news was fun. Didn't even show his face, but like that's Bill. You could see the side and everything.
Yep.
Um,
100%.
I thought they made the weirdness between Bo and his mom. There were kind of some moments like this. Please don't go in this direction. Thankfully didn't. I thought Zoe Lister Jones was also very good as young Mona. Like I thought she fucking did a great job. In like the flashback kind of sequences was really good. And yeah, I mean also in terms of memories and sequences when he was high and having all those. I thought that whole portion was fantastic. Like, man, and again, that's another high anxiety situation where he's getting peer pressured into smoking. And you're like, oh no, we've all been there. So, yeah,
Yeah.
like I think in terms of what Ari Aster wanted for the anxiety portions and like hitting those heights, he fucking smashed it out of the park. This movie is got some of the best ability of making you anxious as I've ever seen in some stuff. So nailed that. Story obviously very unique in way it's told and all that, but it's not one I'm going to watch again because it was too long. But it was I'm glad I did. It was quite an experience.
You felt the time, you felt the length on it. Like it was like,
Especially at
oh
the end.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once kind of he gets to the house and finally, all that. But I don't know. In terms of rating, I think it might be a 6 for me. A little bit lower than what we've been working with, but again, I really like movies like this, and I did like it, but I don't know, maybe it would be better on a rewatch. I don't think I'm gonna do it, but like such a unique one. Like I recommend everybody to see it if you haven't, because there's not a movie like this. Like it's one of those where I think you should always see movies like that just to kind of expand, what you're seeing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 5 out of 10. It's memorable. I will. I guess it's not forgettable. Like
Yeah, no.
I'll always remember it, but like I'm not gonna go rewatch it, and probably not gonna think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. And round off the collection too. I think I've seen all his movies now. Is it just the three? Does he only have the
Yeah.
three? Okay. All right. So I'm in the same boat then. Um, right on. Yeah, it'll be very fascinating to see like what he does next, what kind of type of movie. Like if he goes back to a straight up horror, like I would classify this like as half a horror, half a drama, I guess. It's
He
obviously not the
he
same.
he classified it as a 3 hour horror comedy.
Okay. I guess that's fair. Yeah. I guess that's fair. I mean, there's sprinkles of comedy. I didn't think it was like super funny, but there's definitely some funny moments. Like I think Nathan Lane was probably the funniest part of the movie.
So rank Ari Aster's 3 movies.
Ooh. Midsummer's easy one for me. It's hard for me to pick between the other two, though. I've told you my feelings on Hereditary. I've told you they're since I don't like believe in that possession stuff or those kind of things, it's fucking always hard for me to enjoy it. Like, I think objectively that was a phenomenally well done movie, and like everything about it is very good. But I'm still just like, it got so extreme like towards the end for me, kind of. I was like, but I think it's probably still slightly better than this one. I would give it. But they're pretty close for me. I know you think Hereditary is one of the best movies like ever, so um, probably Hereditary. Midsummer, Beau is Afraid for you, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's good. I really like his stuff, and he fucking isn't afraid of putting anything on screen. Obviously, like some of the realism of the deaths in Midsummer are fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite
Yeah.
Silent Sono level, but they're close.
Yeah, no, for sure, 1,000%. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting what he does next. I've seen a lot of like really big critics say like this, like Beau's Afraid is gonna really hinder his career.
I
So
remember, yeah, I remember that. But I don't think so, really. Like, because there's so many good performances in it. Like, he's still directed the movie well and all. It's just obviously the concept and everything. So, but you never know with Hollywood. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. But Alvin chiming in here says he thought this movie was interesting. I was confused to whether it was a horror movie or a comedy. I found this movie quite strange looking for hidden meanings, was difficult for me to do. Yeah, that's the kind of challenge of this one. I completely agree. Joaquin's performance was sensational. As always, amazing performance, and his expressions really show his dread and anxiety. Yeah, like he crushed it as he always does. Mateus says Enemy is fantastic. Yep, one of my all-time favorites for sure. Metaphorical masterpiece, if you will. An Octagon Update says Vera versus Marcos is off now, so little update there for you. Not sure the reason if you got it up, Alex, but that is Dunzo to wrap up the movie club here. Oh, actually, not yet. We got to give our movies for this week. What am I talking about, Alex? Should we go with another watch along, or you got a new one for me here? Because
Yeah,
I do want to see
I got
Dream
one for you.
Scenarios soon. Maybe next week we could do that.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna give you Butterfly Effect, 2004.
Ooh, nice. All right. I haven't seen it, but I obviously know about it. So that will be a good one. So, okay, I got some options here for you. And which one do I want to go with? I'm going to give you I have a feeling you've seen this, but Grave Encounters from 2011.
Oh, it's a fucking good one. Yeah. I've seen
Okay,
it.
all right, you've seen it. Okay. And then we're gonna shift complete genres to a foreign film. Have you seen Portrait of a Lady on Fire?
Yeah, it's a good one.
God damn. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
All right, that is a good one. Yes. All right. Well, let's hope my third here. Otherwise, we have to come up with a different one. We're gonna keep you on the anxiety trail then. Climax from 2018.
Climax.
Also a foreign film. Gaspar Noé.
No, I don't think so. No.
Oh boy, you're in for a treat. You thought Beau was Afraid was bad. This one is, in terms of anxiety, get ready.
All right.
This is this movie's in the genre with or the category. I've seen a lot of people when they talk about things like Requiem for a Dream. So I think you will definitely be very compelled by it. It's very, very good, but it is a literal trip. So that is, I can't wait to hear what you think. But all right, there we go, you guys. So feel free to watch along, of course, with us until next week. Getting an Octagon Update says visa issues on Marcos' side. All right, there we go. But yeah, that'll wrap up the movie club officially. I'm glad we got to Beau is Afraid. I really am, because it would have taken us a while, I think, if we didn't do it here. But yeah, that was something. All right, well, let's close things out now with the Q&A. You guys gave us some questions throughout the show. We appreciate it as always. We got about 8 here, it looks like. Starting things off with Caleb B, who asks, why does 155 have its own separate division, like Poirier, Gaethje, McGregor, and somehow Chandler, who don't have to fight anyone? Yeah, it's kind of like 2 tiers, kind of the name value used to be kind of the violence division in a way. Wouldn't quite put McGregor in that category anymore, obviously, as he hasn't fought at 155, let alone fighting, since 2021. But I think these guys, Alex, they are just at such a level of popularity and business savvy, probably, that's how this happened. How they got stuck in this kind of cycle. And partially UFC's doing by allowing it to happen for the most part and matching things. But I mean, look at even Gaethje went out of the bubble with the Fiziev, right? But I guess what are your thoughts on kind of the upper it's the upper echelon for the most part.
Yeah, it sucks. It's the same way at welterweight. It's just, I mean, like some divisions, just like the upper division, doesn't want to fight down. And it sucks. It does. I'm not a fan of it at all. Um,
Especially in this
like
division.
poor, yeah, exactly. And I feel like you know this is kind of more directed to Poirier, but like he said on multiple times like he doesn't want to fight younger up and comers. So if that's the case, take yourself out of the rankings and
Yeah.
go fight go fight money fights, go fight fights you really want. Like, don't hold up the division. Like, I just, like you said, at least Gaethje went out there, fought Fiziev. He's fighting, and then he went and fought Poirier. So now he's sitting on his ranking, sitting on his title shot. But like, Poirier,
Yeah.
not so much. And McGregor, Chandler's sitting on his ranking because he's waiting for the McGregor fight.
Yeah,
But if they
yeah.
were to tell him, if I'm pretty sure if they were to tell Chandler, go fight Arman, and get a title shot, or go fight Arman, you're not getting a McGregor fight, he would do it.
Yeah. It's just a matter of getting that little push. So
Yeah.
interesting times at lightweight always. But Ghost has multiple questions here, starting off with why do fans and gamblers like to say easy pick when they get a pick right? Actually, I don't hear that too often unless it's pretty obvious. But he says they aren't fighting and fighters do something really hard too. It's an extremely volatile sport, and I know less the more. What did he say? I don't know where the rest of it goes, and I feel like I can say this with even more confidence because considering I work with an MMA fighter, he says. Because, well, honestly, and if you're one of those gambler guys, right? Like one of the touts or whatever the names are for them, Alex, like that's very important for them because you gotta show that you're right. Otherwise, people aren't gonna fucking listen to your advice. Like that's why they do it. It's to keep their following going and to build things up and make a job or career out of being a gambler, which is a risky business in my opinion. But that's why they do that, Ghost, to kind of build up their notoriety, right? I mean, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah. Pretty sure. I mean, it's
Fans
just
just
like
being
a
dicks if they're just doing it for fun.
yeah,
Just to
1000%. And it's just
brag.
easy to pick. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just like you make a basketball, it's an easy shot. It's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
it's like verbiage.
Exactly. Um, Huang Ming asking or says, hi, I have a lot of friends in China that were excited for the UFC return to China. I'm sure a lot of people were. I've heard that this event fell through since the UFC did not file the proper permits. That would be fascinating. I haven't heard anything about that. Dana again said he didn't know. Alex, any scoop skis, anything specifically? It's been a mystery, obviously.
Yeah, no, I've heard the same thing. It's just like a permit thing that they fucked up.
Hmm. Jeez, get it together, UFC. You think you No. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I guess I'm sure some rules have changed since they were last there. It's been a couple of years. As Ghost also says, I've always said that this is one of the worst things to say is that they fight well for a woman. Yes, that's fairly degrading. Isn't it fair to criticize women for performing bad techniques the same as men? Yeah, no, totally. And I think we've talked about this before, Ghost. So, um, yeah, no, that's pretty cut and dry in my opinion. And he also goes on to say, I don't know if you saw the Amanda Serrano news where she vacated her belt because of WBC. I did see this right before. Wouldn't give her 12 rounds like the men. Doesn't that back up my claim that women should be held to, let's see, assuming you said higher standard or something like that. But yeah, no, totally. It should be fully equal. There's absolutely zero reason in boxing. And, I'm not a boxing guy whatsoever. I'll say that every time, but it's completely fucking dinosaur rules. Never should have been that way in the first place. But yeah, for women to have less time, less rounds, all that shit. Big props to Mana Serrano. Like, completely commend her for doing this. And she, especially for her having fought on like normal time rules, why go back now? Like, that's even more offensive. So, it's just, yeah, silly that we were even there in the first place.
Yeah.
So, Yeah. Ghost also says, I like Suma or Suma Derje, as we call him in the private chat rooms. Did you know he does commentary for UFC pay-per-views and dresses up like an IRS agent with a suit tie and thick rimmed glasses? No, I didn't know that, but good for him. Yeah, if he has a commentary gig already, I would not have assumed that. So I bet there's a lot of those fighters though, like with different languages who are doing their own thing. Like I know Panny does some stuff over in Sweden, but I don't think she does like UFC commentary specifically. But yeah, good for Suma Derje. You know, the more opportunities, the better for these guys and gals. As James says, a squash match, the new term for manipulative BS matchmaking. In a sense, I guess they're pretty much the same thing. Squash match is a little bit it's obviously bullshit. You shouldn't ever really have squash matches in any case unless someone like desperately needs it. But then in that case, is it really? Then you can argue with it. But I think for the most part, probably the same thing,
Yeah,
James.
it's a term that comes from wrestling.
Yeah, yes, it's definitely that. But oh yeah, Santiago Ponzinibbio also is he does his commentary for I think the Spanish team, right?
Yep.
Moreno also, Vera, a couple of those guys switching in and out, so awesome to see. But yeah. All right, you guys. Well, on that note, that wraps up all the questions and all that we have for you today as we get ready for UFC Vegas 83. And Alex, let's confirm real quick. Are they on? Are they doing Shanghai time? Are they doing China time for this event? Do you have to stay up nice and early if you go to it?
No, it's I believe it's I think the main card starts at 7
Okay.
7 Pacific.
Oh, pay-per-view time then.
Yeah.
So just a little bit pushback. All right, that's fine. But yeah, on that note, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. As always, don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff to the MMA Mania platforms, channels, website, all that good stuff. Follow me at DrakeRiggs_. Follow him at Alex Behunin, Twitter, Instagram, wherever else we may be, but those are the main ones. Alex, do we have anything to plug this week? More tidbits for this event, I'm sure, and anything else? It's the holidays coming up.
Yeah, it's tidbits, and I think that's it.
Tidbits and giblets.
That's it.
Yep. And as for me, we dropped episode 30, 33 of Broaden Horizon last week. So you can check that one out with Juan Archuleta, John Dodson, as they get ready for their fights at Rising 45. I am telling you, the absolute best interview Archuleta has ever given. And I'm not just saying that because it was me. I have known this guy for several years now, and I've never heard him be so open and speak so much. It was a pleasant surprise. We went for about 40 minutes on the show, but just fantastic stories, fantastic insight. Juan is one of the greatest guys that you will ever meet in the space. And John Dodson's pretty cool as well. But yeah, Juan Archuleta really stood out to me with just kind of the stuff that we talked about. So definitely check that one out. It was great. And we will have some articles up for it as the fight gets closer as well. But Broaden Horizon episode 34 also going to be getting underway soon here as well before the big show at the end of the year. Looking to have maybe about 5 guests. So will be a big one, of course, to close out as we like to do. But other than that, I think that will about do it. Just stay glued to everything, you guys. And again, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing when we go live. But next week, we'll have to figure it out, but might do an in-person show again since I will be in Vegas, or we'll figure that all out. So stay tuned, Tuesday or Wednesday, but most likely the same time. Until then, you guys, stay safe and stay sane, and we will see you when we see you. Peace.